My name is Princess Patricia Obila, the Deputy Governor of Ebonyi State. So far, so good in our state. We have more than 800,000 people that are going, our farmers that are going into dry season planting. As a state, we need to intensify our efforts by giving them some palliatives in terms of fertilizer, helping them in all like irrigation, and a lot of things that can help them boost their farming period. So the state, as we said, we're applying a lot of methods, a lot of incentives that will make them get more harvest.
My name is Khalid Sanikankia. I'm the National Agribusiness Policy Mechanism NAPM Project Coordinator at Presidential Food System Coordinating Unit. I think NAPM is designed as an 18-month pilot so that to allow the government and its partners test the delivery of the model within a manageable scale, so that the core structures of NAPM, the coordination mechanism, the extension and surveillance can all be tested within a very short period of time that can be adjusted.
The NAPM supports a Renewed Hope agenda's economic goals by using real-time data to guide food production, imports, exports, and reserves. It also helps the government to stabilize food prices, reduce import dependence, and to also strengthen domestic production. Another key factor is that it improves coordination across the 3 tiers of government and protects farmers' income through better planning and market intervention.
The gap there that the streets need to intensify effort is one, security. We need to intensify our security. Though in my state we don't have problems, but still we need to do more to intensify our security so that our farmers will be at ease to do whatever they are doing. Also, we need to also intensify our road network in their various farming areas. We also need to intensify even transport too, to make sure that farmers go to their farms with ease. Because if somebody is going to farm and you struggle a lot, on getting there you will produce little. So we have put in a lot of things in place to make sure that we alleviate their suffering.
Taraba State is part of the 13 states that have been selected to partake in this pilot project. And what we have learned is that, one, we need to know the land area of Taraba State. Then we also need to know the number of farmers that we have in Taraba State, and then the output that Taraba farmers are giving in terms of dry season farming. Now, all these things, we can do it when we have data for the farmers. And then one key area that we're going to capitalize on, that we're going to focus on, is first of all to get the data, because the data is the foundation. From it, we have learned also that we need to scale up our support to farmers so that they will increase their capability in terms of dry season farming. Obviously, even though we are doing dry season farming in Taraba State, but the magnitude is so low, maybe 10 or 15% compared to rain-fed agriculture.
I think what will determine national scale-up of NAPM will come from the evidence, the delivery, the effectiveness of the delivery. One, the effectiveness of delivery, when there is much evidence that shows that this particular model of NAPM has actually improved productivity, it has contributed to reliable food balance in the country. Secondly, when there is operational readiness, because the mechanism requires some technologies, some systems to be in place. When those mechanisms technologies are in place, it also shows that the model is ready for scale up. And the last thing I think is stakeholder buy-in. When there is significant buy-in among stakeholders, the stakeholders involves the presidency, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture, and the State Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Resources, and any other ministry, department, or agency that has in one way or the other contribute to national food balance.
The governor, His Excellency Dr. Agbukefas, purchased some agricultural implements, mainly tractors and hand tillers, and it was shared to farmers in the 16 local government areas of the state. Secondly, he purchased improved rice seeds and then distributed it to the farmers. He followed it up with fertilizer and agrochemicals. And then we have discovered that there's an increase in our production, but it has not reached the level that his goal is for Taraba State to start exporting rice. But we have not reached that level. So we still have some little way to go.
Like as I said, between 60-70% is what the government is working on to make sure that we boost our dry season farming. We had it between 55-60 last year, but this time around we are applying all this method to make sure that we boost the data. We'll get there.
The production part shows the strongest performance, and then the milling part is the one we're trying to improve. Most of the time, they buy the paddy rice, go and mill it, and then return it to Taraba State. What the governor wants now to do is to improve the value chain from the production to the processing to the storage and then marketing. We want to start marketing Taraba rice. And then that is why we now have agricultural zones in the state. The state has been divided into 3 zones: the northern, the central, and the southern zone. And each of them taking one crop that they have comparative advantage over others.
As we move forward, when we engage the different states, that you can readily avail some of this data to us. We want to work a lot more closely with the structures at NIOS, doing some of the surveys. So I hope that as we move forward, we can share data more, right? Because what happens is situations like this, I mean, a methodology was followed, it was a sample size, but again, it's not reflective. And what happens is, you know, all of you to one level or another are a leader, right? You can only make decisions with the information in front of you.
I'm Bishop Ohima. I work with National Bureau of Statistics. I'm the head of Agri-Statistics Division in the department, Agricultural and Business Enterprises Statistics Department. National Bureau of Statistics are in charge of data production in Nigeria. They are the custodian of data production in Nigeria. And we cannot do this alone. We collaborate with other agencies. And we can also collaborate with the same ministry you have mentioned. We don't work in isolation. For as Bureau, it depends on the types of data we are looking at that determine the types of organization that we are going to collaborate with. For instance, if we are collecting agri data, we collaborate with agricultural and food security, Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. Sometimes we collaborate with environment. We collaborate with NGO. We collaborate with a food and agricultural organization. The National Bureau of Statistics is ready to collaborate with you in any aspect.
I'm Professor Sani Yusuf Ahmad, the Executive Director, National Agricultural Extension Research, Liaison Services, NRLS, Ahmad Bello University Zaria. Based on our agricultural performance survey for 2025, the season started with some challenges, dry spell and others, but along the season it stabilized, and from the performance, most of the crop have performed very well. However, there's a lot of challenges faced by the farmers in terms of high cost of inputs, like especially fertilizer, and also that of labor. And this has made the farmers to lose at the harvest time, because at the initial stage, there's high cost of input, especially fertilizers, as I said, even agrochemicals, and then the cost of labor. And then at the time of harvest, there was, import of crop, especially maize. That has crashed the prices, which affects the returns of the farmers, especially smallholder farmers in Nigeria.
As far as we are concerned, we have the technical capacity to be able to carry out any kind of assessment using digitized method of data collection. I will let you to understand that the National Agricultural Sample Survey we did this year is the first time in the country that we are able to use digital means of data collection. We'll be collecting the data from the field and we send to the server, and there will be online monitoring. So we don't have issue with that. We have the technical expertise to be able to provide any types of data that you need for the implementation of this policy mechanism.
Well, we have mentioned this during our presentation to the minister, the APS report, that there should be a kind of intervention to see how the farmers can be encouraged to go to the farm next season. And then there must be a special intervention program during this dry season that is coming, so that we can have all year round production to stabilize the deficit that the farmers have incurred during the wet season. So that should be, and I'm happy that the NAPM program has identified that some support that will be given to smallholder farmers during the dry season, especially on maize, rice, and which again, wheat. So these are very encouraging, especially in the area of irrigation facilities.
Already, as you know, we are part of the 13 states that are participating in the NAPM. And then what we intend to do now is to adopt the resolution of the NAPM and then cascade it to the local government. Presently, we are collaborating with the federal government, but we have to cascade it down to the local government. If you remember, over 80% of the farmers producing our food crops resides in the local government. And whatever we are going to do, we have to involve the local government so as to succeed.
Okay, let me say that the farmers of almost all the third sister and FCT were working closely with them through our zonal offices and the ADPs. All the 36 ADPs and FCT, they are under our custodian. We have a good relationship for over 3 decades. And anytime you call, they are ready to collaborate. And they know the genuine farmers that we can target. And that's why if there's any assignment within a week, just as was stated by the ES, we can perform. So we have seamless relationship. There's no issue with that.
My name is Marian Moon. I'm the Technical Assistant on Agriculture and the Secretary of the Presidential Food Systems Coordinating Unit. Today, we have just concluded our 2-day workshop where we were closing the cycle 1 of the NAPM and opening the cycle 2 of the NAPM. The NAPM is the National Agribusiness Policy Mechanism, and it was inaugurated or launched in May of this year in recognition of the fact that agricultural development is a shared responsibility between the 3 tiers of government and therefore requires quite intense collaboration and coordination. And these structures need to be enhanced, they need to be strengthened. So the mechanism is coming in to look at how do we better collaborate towards agricultural development in Nigeria.